Hello, everybody. This is Wise Exotics. We're going to be discussing Nepenthes Veitchii today. Now, there's some hot topics involved with Veitchii, and that's poaching. So we'll get into that later. Veitchii as a whole are from Borneo. They're usually on the northern part and some of the smaller islands. Now, the plants all exhibit fuzz on the leaves, fuzzy little emblems. The embryos, which are on the tips of the leaf that make the trap, are all fuzzy. So they're fun to pet. I know that sounds weird, but they are fun to pet. Let's see. They can grow in a variety of conditions: lowland, highland, intermediate, ultra highland, you name it. So there's that. They can all be different. Even seed siblings can be extremely different. Even some within a small population type are all very different. An example is Badabuli, which is a small location where all of them are like flared, gold striped, squat, tall, you name it, they're all over the place. And it's not just there. Malu Basin, Hope Hill, things like that. All of them can be extremely varied. Now, Veitchii as a whole can be chameleons or what people call late bloomers. So you can get one that was always showing yellow or just plain pictures, all of a sudden starts releasing beautiful striped pictures. So don't give up on a Veitchii. Keep it for the long haul because it might surprise you later on. You might sell it, and then the guy who gets it, oh, within a week, starts popping some nice pictures. Now, climate, location, lighting, all these have their environment has big factors on how they grow too. But it has been noted that light and cool and hot conditions don't really affect how it produces stripes so far that I can tell. An example of late bloomers is this one, which I call candy taffy or saltwater taffy. I got it from Salty Trout, so that was a nod to him. When he was selling this to me, it only had this picture, and then it started developing this one. And literally right before he sold it to me and shipped it, it popped this. Just a beautiful specimen. Striped, flared, and this isn't even a mature picture, so it could just keep getting better. I like the little spots on the side and the purple intercoloring kind of pattern it's got with like black to blue. It's really interesting. Veitchii are highly desired for many traits and things, so they're used as a breeder for many Nepenthes breeding for hybridization. They're very tolerant and hardy, so disease resistant and whatnot. Now, Veitchii are also a lot of them are in protected reserves and whatnot. So you might be wondering, how does poaching come into this as a factor? Well, almost all Nepenthes, it doesn't matter which one, are all from poaching origins. That's the darker side that I've come to accept when growing these plants. Even nurseries have been caught, even here in the US, UK, Japan, Asia, China, Russia, you name it. Nurseries everywhere have been caught red-handed trying to poach plants from the wild. It's not a good thing because that can actually decimate their ability to reproduce due to less and less genetics in the pool. I mean, you don't want inbred Nepenthes. Some people do because you can get weird stripes or variegation. So that's one of the darker aspects. Veitchii have a big history with poaching specifically, not to not to knock Rigidifolia or Clipieta as an example, who also suffer greatly. Rigidifolia, there's only one in the wild right now. They haven't found another population yet. So far there's one male in the wild, and they're effectively environmentally extinct. The hope is that they will be able to repopulate and get some flowering female, because right now there's only males. They can be used to breed hybrids. There is, if I recall, a natural hybrid between Spectabilis in it, but Rigidifolia as a pure species is pretty much gone from the wild right now. And so far, our only hope is to have nurseries be able to do horticultural breeding. Even Nepenthes Raja, same concept. It's within a sacred park that people shouldn't be able to get into, but people still poach and steal plants and whatnot. Veitchii specifically, a majority of them originate from a person called Amlo Shu. He was in Taiwan. He moved to Malaysia later on, but this gentleman has a lot of the original Veitchii that people use for breeding as his private collection. He sells cuttings of it whenever he needed to make some money, to my understanding. This is the origins of things like Cobra, Candy Dreams, Pink Candy Cane, Big Mama, Veitchii, Barrio, you name it. If you see a beautiful striped Veitchii, it's more likely the originator of that. If not, that plant itself came from his collection originally. Now, this was like 13 years ago, so most of the specimens in our nurseries are either directly crossed with his, back with some other of his that created horticultural ones, and some of those have even come out really good. So not all the ones that you and me, which we buy in bulk from seed grown, are from him directly, but their parents' origins are probably from him. And that's kind of a dark, sad truth. Um, as an example, Candy Dreams, which is a very popular Veitchii because it's squat, it's pink with stripes and flare and little waves in it. That plant is highly valued and desired. It is also goes by a different name in Asia, where it's also sold as Big Head, which I think refers to a lion's mane, personally, because they also have a soup with this big meatball in it, and it's also called Big Head soup, which they said is supposed to be referring to a lion's mane. So I'm assuming Veitchii Candy Dreams being called Big Head there is also a nod to that as well. Now you might be wondering, what's the point of all this? Well, it's a truth. You need to know where they come from, and if you understand that a lot of them are poached, growing them and trying to help bump the population not in the wild also helps keep people from wanting to poach them in the wild. So that's why certain people get permits to go to reserves to try to rebump the genetics of their limited pool in cultivation. It's still poaching, but at least it's controlled, and it's mainly to help prevent further poaching of the wild plants. So you shrug at this and kind of go, it's better than not, I guess, doing anything about it. So it's a direct measure to try to prevent poaching. Now, Veitchii can grow at different rates. As if you've watched my channel, you know that these four are all the same age. As you can see, some are slower, some have stripes, some don't. Some will get stripes when they're adults, maybe some won't. It's extremely varied. So keep that in mind. It's not a plant you can instantly get a huge, beautiful striped specimen. Now, if you get a cutting, you know what it'll look like, but remember, environments also play a factor. I've seen some cuttings of Candy Dreams that don't look anything near as good as Dom's, and that's just his environment. Whatever he does, it likes, and it grows and shows itself in that way. Different lighting, waveforms, different temperatures, supposedly, can affect how how they grow. Waveforms also affect how fast or big things grow too. So and as an example, if you have a full spectrum lighting, you might want to try some infrared light, because from my research, there is actually a benefit. You have what is called an enhanced lighting effect, which for some reason helps plants grow a little better. All of my light diodes are both full spectrum with red infrared. So might be why my plants always seem to, whenever I get a new one, start growing rather rapidly and always get a big healthy leaf jumps the second I get them. Just for whatever reason, my temperature ranges and whatnot they like, and the lighting might help play a benefit, in their development. Keep that in mind. If there's any specific Veitchii here that people are wondering about, so there's Valiant Voyage, Valiant Vortex from Predatory Plants, Candy Dreams line, like these are Veitchii B from Red Leaf Exotics. These two in the corner are from Mike Fallen, Veitchii K XM, Veitchii K1, XM2, which I call weed because it grows like crazy. It grows like a weed, so I call it a weed. Badabuli, this is seed grown, Pink Candy Cane, X Big Mama, which are the two big breeders of Carnivero, and then Malubation. This one is actually from tissue culture. This is my only clone of each guy, so I already know what this one will look like. It'll be squatting yellow when it develops to what I call. I knew what it was going in. It's a nice little specimen, so at least I believe it's tissue culture. Yeah, see, tissue culture. So I even talked to some people, and they weren't very aware of this. I know here in the US this is common, so maybe in other regions it's not. If you see T and C in English on the edge of a plant's thing here in USA. That is reference of tissue culture. If you see SG, that's a reference of seed grown. I'm trying to see if I have any plant with SG on it here. Not offhand, because they are all from different things. But if they don't say TC, they are not tissue culture. If they are SG, that is specifically saying they are seed grown. So there's that. I hope everybody enjoyed this video. I hope it's been informational. Wise Exotics out.